October 6, 2019. FBI seeking assistance connecting victims to Samuel Little's. Confessions 5 years after analysts with the FBI's Violent Criminal Apprehension Program, VICAP, began linking cases to convicted murderer Samuel Little, and nearly 18 months after a Texas Ranger began to elicit from him a breathtaking number of confessions, the FBI has confirmed Little to be the most prolific serial killer in U.S. history. Here is 3 of Samuel's confession. Unmatched confession, Covington, Kentucky, 1984. Little stated that in approximately 1984, possibly in the summertime, he was driving his Lincoln Continental Mark III from Lorain, Ohio, to Cincinnati. While en route, he met a 25-year-old white female outside a strip club. He remembers her as being 5'6", 5'7" tall and 170 pounds. Little describes her as having short blonde hair and blue eyes with a hippie appearance. She approached him and asked for a ride to Miami, Florida, saying her mother lived there. Little said he and the woman drove south on Interstate 75. When they reached Cincinnati, the two of them spent time downtown on Vine Street. They continued driving together, across the river into northern Kentucky. Little described driving to a hilly area not far from I-75. He drove up a small dirt road to the top of a little round hill, where he strangled the woman in the back seat of his car. He left her body on the top of the hill. Unmatched confession, North Little Rock, Arkansas, 1992-1994. Little said he encountered a black female in a transient area of Little Rock, Arkansas, between 1992 and 1994. He remembered it was cold and possibly snowing when they met. He described the woman as 24 years old, 5'5", 5'7" tall, and approximately 200 pounds. Little stayed with her on and off for about 3 days. He reportedly shoplifted with the woman, then she sold the merchandise. Little remembers being arrested for shoplifting in a North Little Rock Kroger grocery store. Records indicate that Little was in fact arrested by North Little Rock Police Department for shoplifting from a Kroger on April 20th, 1994. According to Little, he was released after approximately 3 hours so that he could move his vehicle, a 1978 yellow Cadillac Eldorado, or possibly a yellow Dodge, off the grocery store's property. Little stated that when he returned to his vehicle, the woman was sleeping inside. He first drove the woman to meet her ex-boyfriend, a man called Bear. Little believes Bear is now deceased, then drove her back to her residence. He returned the following day and drove with her toward Benton or Bentonville, Arkansas. When they were outside Little Rock, Little drove down a dirt road and manually strangled the woman to death. Little stated he placed the woman's body on a pile of branches and old corn stalks in or near a cornfield. He believes the woman's name may have been Ruth, and that her mother lived in North Little Rock. Victim.unmatched confession, Miami, Florida, 1971 or 1972. Little recounted that in 1971 or 1972 he met an attractive 18 to 19-year-old transgender black woman in Miami, Florida. Little recalled her name was Marianne or Marianne. Little said Marianne was between 5'6", 5'7" tall and approximately 140 pounds. Little first met Marianne at a bar known as the Pool or Pool Palace near 17th Avenue in Miami. A few days later, they met again at a bar in Overtown, where Little offered to give her a ride home. Little stated Marianne lived with several other roommates between Brownsville and Liberty City. When they arrived there, one of Marianne's roommates asked them to buy a can of shaving cream, so they returned to Little's car, a gold 4-door Pontiac Le Mans. Little drove Marianne north on Highway 27 and killed her on a driveway, possibly near a sugarcane field. He then drove further down Highway 27 into the Everglades and turned down a dirt road that led to a river or a swamp. Little dragged Marianne's body approximately 200 yards into the thick, muddy water. He does not believe the body was ever found.